Yeah. Okay. You were saying something about the room allocation.
Did you read Mick's email today?
I remember reading Michael's email yesterday and what you replied. Is there a new thing today?
Yes. So I think he's up to some. He did a little bit more work. So that's
He's
positive.
suggesting we do more work.
No. He has talked to somebody else in the department.
Okay.
Because what the document said, there were actually a few incomplete things which Naima pointed out in the document. So then what I did was, after the email that I sent another email to Mick personally. And I just, because Naima said that he won't know what we are responding to. So then I copied Andy's email and the one that came from Judith with that web link. And that copied all of that correspondence, and I said that response was made for that. So obviously that was an informal response which needed some more brushing up, and I just took out all the signature names because I just took out the names from the Facebook thing. So anyway, I made that clear to make that this is just a tentative draft, that things that are coming out as concerns.
And this draft is going to be discussed with Michael.
Yes.
And then presented to the department after.
I don't know. I mean, this is something which is entirely open, which we will discuss when we meet him on 2nd. So I will bring a copy of this document on that day. The original one even, so that everybody can sign in maybe.
Yes.
So if he has to present it to the department, he can do that.
Like physical signature. Yeah. Okay. I understand
that was the main. But again, that's what I said, that he has written 2nd, and obviously as we all agreed that we will not be able to change the date now. So whoever is available and can try should try to be there. Because,
of course. Because
already when Harbir brought up this thing, there were people who got back to Harbir and said that they're fine with the new arrangement.
Yeah.
So obviously then we need to have some, at least some handful of us who are concerned about and who are not happy.
Yeah. Has anyone been to the new offices?
I've been to the new building. I've had a look.
Yeah.
But they seem to be all closed doors and everything.
And for the 2nd September meeting, Mick suggested for us to meet on the new space.
Yes.
New building.
Exactly, new space. So
because
I don't know what the
that
news
would be useful, I think.
Exactly.
We will be having 2 rooms, one smaller and one bigger room. Is that right?
We have one which has the hot desking.
Yeah, for the hot desking.
And then there is one on the 1st floor which is for the finalists.
For the permanent, yeah.
For the permanent, and that was our biggest concern when we met Harbir.
I saw that room because I have been there and the room was open. And the one on the 1st floor is surprisingly small. It's really
That's what I
small.
thought, because
the permanent one, smaller than what we have the permanent.
Smaller than. The 2 rooms that we have currently?
Yeah.
There is the room that you're sitting in and the room that I'm sitting in. The room that I'm using, the smaller one, is the same size of the new room.
See, and
And
I could guess that because the corridors, that building itself is so,
Yes, and
narrow
that is another problem. This room has one small window and it doesn't have a good vibe, It's not very well lit.
No, I always had in mind that if you know that the lady side of the chaplaincy of the prayer hall, I had in mind that we'll be getting those rooms because they all had that big window and opening to this. I don't know, but anyway, we got the other side.
Yeah.
But that was our concern also, and the biggest concern was that at this time, I think I wrote down 10 names of people who are submitting in less than a year. So we are all finalists, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And apart from that, a PhD student at any stage is writing up.
Of course.
One thing or the other.
Yeah.
So.
But we have to be realistic. Not everyone uses the spaces. We have.
Yes, that's what I told her.
Yes, there are those who are always here. They get the first priority, and then there are people who come and go.
Yeah.
So out of 10 people, you have like 3 or 4 people who are always here, 2 or 3 who come and go. So maximum 7 people are going to show up.
Yes. I told her that you have to be careful, because if you remember in Avon here down that PhD room, they used to have that sign-up sheet.
Yes.
Now they're going to go by the past statistics. In the past, they will see that at any given time there are hardly 5 or 6 people who come in every day.
Yes.
Based on and then she insisted that no, because that was past, and in the future, because new students are coming in, so we need to make which is valid as well. But I said still they have taken the decision based on that past figure.
Yes.
You know, we cannot discount that.
Yeah, but you have to remind them that students didn't show up because
Yes.
there was no room.
Exactly.
So there, not all of them, but there is a big chunk of them who didn't show up because there is no room.
Yes.
So you can't assume or project the numbers in the future.
Yeah.
So we will keep that in mind as well. But you know, in the end, I said, obviously, we cannot waste too much time in this kind of thing.
Yes, of course.
I think the people who will come after us will benefit definitely more than us.
Yeah.
But you know, then I told Harvi that we need to be decent amongst ourselves, that if anybody leaves, nobody removes the things as the department says that, you know, you have to clear your table. That's unreasonable. I mean, I can leave my things, I can leave my place for, let's say, 4-5 hours, but then I can be back again. Anybody will be, you know,
Yes.
they will have their random.
We can meet them halfway. Like, it is reasonable for them to ask us to remove our stuff at the end of the day.
Exactly.
Right? So fresh day, all tables
Yes,
are
yes,
empty. Who comes first
Yes,
gets
yes.
it. But within the day, you cannot expect us
Yes.
to remove our stuff whenever we pop out, because we might be going,
Yes.
grabbing something or having a meeting and then coming back. So meet them halfway. You know, ideally, we would like to have a designated desk for each one of us, but that is not possible. So don't expect us to go all the way.
I don't know if you people read Harvi's document, but because I was there in the meeting, I think I didn't go through the entire one, but I think she must have noted down that part as well, where she said that the common room should have some desks as well.
Maybe,
I mean,
yeah,
we
because
don't
I
need
saw
that
people
big-
working in the common room, by the way, in our current working common
Oh,
room.
yeah. Oh.
So yeah, it's a
So she
possibility.
said that why do we need a common room? I mean, I said
Sometimes it's a
you
big
do
waste
need a
of
common
space.
room
Yes.
at least, but she said that most of the time, especially if we are very in the central campus, we have cafe library.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
have other places. If any one of us wants to get together for lunch or
And
something,
some people,
we can always use that space.
yeah,
That's another point.
Yes.
Those kind of spaces are
Yes.
basically hot desks.
Exactly.
What
Yeah.
I've said. So why
You-
hot desks
Why,
more
exactly.
in
yeah,
the department?
true. You were going to mention
I'm
something.
not part of this discussion because I don't come to this on a regular basis as you, but I'm surprised how in Nottingham I have my friends in
Yeah.
Nottingham. Every student from first year has separate
Mm.
desk. Nobody use this computer, PC.
Is that Department of
drawer.
Education?
Yeah.
Is that same department? That's good.
So this is PC for him only.
Mm,
Everywhere, even in I have friends mathematics.
yeah.
The same. Nobody uses his this or her.
I have lots of friends in math, in chemistry, engineering, and computer engineering, and in Warwick and Manchester. All of them have desks, but I don't know anyone.
Personal desk.
Yes, but I don't know anyone in education department in Manchester or in other universities to compare with. You see, because I always assume that, yeah, of course, engineering students need to have desks, but social students don't need to. And this was the reasoning that was mentioned earlier when I was contacting the students' union last year. They said, well, social science is different and the Department of Education is very particular. But as you said, no, it doesn't have to be like that.
No, but then one of the, I don't know, that Korean or somebody who attended that meeting with Harvi, she mentioned she met somebody in student union and they said that all the students are entitled for, I don't know, 1.5 or something like that.
1.5 students is entitled
for a
desk. I don't know how that's.
So that is a university policy for all PhD students.
Here.
Yeah.
Every 1.5. Well, then we can join in 3 couples and say, okay, give us our 2 desks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, like
Yeah.
Anyway,
Wow.
so I mean, we should all know exactly what we have to, you know,
What to
bargain
say.
for.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be a bargaining thing. They will not listen to everything.
And remember,
that we
we're
say.
not negotiating for ourselves only, but also for other
Yeah.
students. Yeah.
Because yes, this is true that, you know, after looking at this arrangement now, because some of us are probably stuck or some of us really like to use the workspace, so we are fighting more.
Yeah.
But people who are not and they might benefit out of it are not coming forward.
There's always the
So-
possibility of someone who doesn't use the disk. So when we have a disk,
Yeah.
they will show up.
Mhm.
So everyone has something to get out of it.
Yeah.
So the meeting with Michael has been decided.
He has decided, so I didn't have the, today, because especially when I was waiting for today's meeting to respond to him, but when I read his email in the morning, I said I think I should respond to him now, because then it doesn't look good, because he sent me 2 emails yesterday,
Yeah.
and the 3rd email came today, so then I responded immediately and copying everybody in it.
Well, that does show you how interested he is in the matter.
That's exactly.
I always feel that he stands on our side.
Yeah.
Yesterday he
Because I
was not
understand-
taking
Yeah,
responsibility.
yeah,
and
not particularly.
But he did go into a little bit more detail and try to find somebody
Yes,
who can, help him.
yeah,
Help him and help us.
Yeah.
So that shows that he went a little ahead. So that's
Yeah.
why I thought that we should now start sending him a reply that we're happy with the time.
yeah.
So I sent him.
So you already replied, and okay, good.
Um,
Okay. Good. Okay. Shall we move on? Now, on the agenda today, here's what I suggest, and feel free to add items. First of all, each one is going to say where they're going in their research. As you said when you first met me, said, "Have you finished your interviews?" It's very important for us to know where we stand and how far we are into going to our research. So this is the first item. Next, there is this project that Michelle suggested, which is to help us review our work and make sure that what we write is comprehensible and there's no contradictions between our methodology, the actual methodology, and how to describe our methodology. And this goes back to our discussion with Michael when he was saying that sometimes when people are talking about their research paradigm or research standpoint, they say something and then they do something else, completely different. Like you say, I am an interpretivist, and then you go out and you search for the one ultimate truth or one answer, and that doesn't make any sense. So getting a fresh set of eyes to look into what you've written so far can be helpful in that manner. And Misha said, why don't we buddy up? So that is where the word what did we call it? This study buddy scheme or something like that. Yeah. So I would like to talk about that and probably assign groups, like 2 or 3 people that will be reviewing each other work. I think it's better if you stick with the same person. So they read your work, they say this is not right, this doesn't seem very right for me. You update it and then you give it to them. They are familiar with your research, are familiar with your vocabulary and so on.
Mm-hmm.
But I would prefer this discussion to take place after Esther and Michelle join us. Okay? And hopefully the other Kim and Kathy. Finally, there is this very interesting MOOC that I found online. It's about surviving your PhD, that I want you to at least give it a go. It's going to start in 5 days. I think it's going to be very helpful for everyone, and I suggest it. It's about how to survive your PhD. It's an online course, a free online course, MOOC, massive online open course. I will give you some details about it. Okay, right. If there is anything else you want to discuss, we can add it to the agenda. Don't feel the pressure to say it now. We can talk about it later. So let's start by updates. Okay. Some of you want to start. How have you gone?
I was finishing my transcriptions now, and I previously around June, I think, I wrote a little bit about methodology, not a little bit, but quite a lot, because it was quite a lot of things.
I see.
So I discussed my draft with my supervisor, and she said that a lot of things would not go into the
final
thesis.
Yeah.
So you keep them aside. But then we had this discussion of what I'm going to use as methodology.
Okay.
Having said that, then I was left with a lot of transcriptions. So the past 2 months I've been only finishing my transcriptions. quite a difficult
I
task,
know.
but thank God
I know,
it's
yeah,
done
transcription.
also. So I'm going to be doing a little bit of analysis, and maybe in the form of headings or just an outline. I'll be discussing with her. I have a meeting on 8th now.
Now, it's very interesting. You finished all the interviews and then you started transcriptions?
Yeah.
Okay,
I finished
so
all the interviews. I left them in between actually.
I see.
Yes, I transcribed the more important ones, which were the focus of my research, which
Yeah.
were the head teachers. So I transcribed them first, did a little bit of analysis with them, then left them, and then came on to methodology.
And that analysis was aimed like real analysis or pilot analysis?
No, real analysis.
Okay, so you were doing the analysis before you have all your data. That's interesting.
I had all the data now. So I have like my interviews in 2 phases. So I analyzed the first phase interviews, and I've come at the stage of an analytical model.
I see.
I have that analytical framework.
Okay.
Now I have to now start writing on it. Then I had my second phase interviews. So I transcribed all of them, and I just brought out the themes and the main themes out of them, because
Yeah.
I was going for the conference in USA.
So doing thematic analysis?
Kind of, I don't know.
I see.
I still have now, what I'm going to approach now is I'm going to read a book, maybe 1 or 2 books on
analysis.
qualitative data analysis, and then start my
I
analysis.
can help you with that because I
Yes.
just had a discussion with my supervisor about possible resources on analytical on analysis, because I have no experience in qualitative data analysis. And she suggested 3 books.
Miles and Huberman is a very good book.
Applied thematic analysis on the show.
I think so, yeah. I have
But
the
then that
list.
depends if you're doing thematic analysis. I don't know. We all take out themes from our data anyway. But the thing is that it's difficult to decide, especially what I keep thinking is that whether to do the analysis by questions, I think the approach that Esther is taking probably. She's analyzing the research questions that have been formed. Because I feel that my questions in the interview guide were all based, I try to cover all my research questions in the interviews. So that is one approach, that I take one research question each, and then I fit in the data that I have. Or obviously there will be many categories coming out from the responses.
If you do like Esther did, you will absolutely have to justify and say why there is no confirmation bias. Like if you came up with the questions and you come up with the question based on your literature review, and then you did the research, and then we're doing the analysis, you do question analysis, then you are going back to where you started from. So you have to say how sure, and justify how sure you are of your questions, and make sure. Okay, so in Esther's case, I'm sure she has a justification,
Of course.
but you have to make sure.
Yeah.
Like for example, for me, that's not going to work because when I went into the research, I didn't know exactly the topics that I have to cover. So I have a wide range of questions that were aimed at just getting the information out. And when I was asking the questions, like for example, what is one of my questions is what is one of the big problems that you are facing? So obviously I don't know the answer, and I don't know exactly what question I should be asking. And then each person would answer a completely different answer. So I cannot go back to my questions. I have to rely on their answers. You know what I mean? So my questions were more exploratory. Esther knew exactly what she wanted, so she can justify going back to the question. So you see, this is a different model, complete different model.
Mine is somewhat like yours.
Yeah, exactly. It's when you are exploring, when it's a roughly new area or candid question, you cannot use question methods. So
I
this is
don't know
something
if
you have to keep
you're
in mind.
aware of any data analysis which deals with intercultural studies or something, because at least in my case it matters a lot, because I had to change the questions in the second phase interviews in both the
That goes to prove my point. So your questions are not written in stone.
No,
You have to defend them. So why use them again and give the committee another chance to say,
questions are not right.
yeah, how can you be so sure? But again, if you are sure, go ahead.
No, I'm not.
You know what I
I
mean?
just kept myself very open. I just did the transcription. I know now
Yes.
because I have my teachers and students as well.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I don't know. I had this discussion once with Mick and he said, why are you bringing in teachers and pupils? But
Exactly.
my supervisor keeps insisting
Yeah.
that they should be there. And although I have not gotten, significant data, as I would call it,
Yes.
it's okay, but it's not going to significantly change my research findings or influence my research.
Right.
So I have to see, how I fit those teachers and pupils as well.
Yeah.
So it's going, already there's a huge amount of data. So
Yes.
either I include them as separate chapters for teachers and students. That depends also.
Yeah.
So this is what she said, that you have to see once you get the data, how are you going to fit them in together.
So you already said that you finished the first. You divided your interviews into 2 phases.
Yes.
What was the basis for this division?
Because most of the questions were going to be based on asking them about their religious views.
I see.
So I felt when I did my pilot that I'm meeting these people for the first time. So they won't be very comfortable in talking to me about their religion.
Sorry, these are the same people.
Yeah.
First phase and then second phase. Okay. Yeah.
So
I see.
they can't. They
That's
will
very
not
interesting.
start talking to me about their religion in the first instance. Both the countries had different issues. So with that in mind, then I designed, and then I told my supervisor in the beginning that I won't be happy with the one-off interview.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a very, it's a very different kind of an approach. You
course.
don't get along. You don't feel the other person's
It doesn't feel
position.
that personal.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
But
then
the second time they know you
second
and
time
there's
they
better
were
trust.
very open.
Oh,
I mean, they were open to the extent that they were talking, the people here were talking about all the issues that were political in nature as well.
I see.
So, which could have jeopardized their position as a head
That's
teacher.
interesting.
But they were open.
Yeah.
They were comfortable,
And did you finish all the interviews?
all of them.
Good.
Just
How-
had problems with the focus groups because in one school the team was not very helpful. So I got to have one focus group in that school and there too with one teacher. I don't know how I got all that.
Sorry, can you quickly tell me how many cases do you have and how?
10 altogether.
10
5
cases.
head teachers from here, 5 from there.
I see. Okay.
And head teachers, so 5 of the, so 10 in total, and then students and teachers focus groups, 2 from each school.
2 from each school.
Yeah, so I have a total of 60 interviews. 60.
Wow.
Wow.
I mean, I'm glad that that one of the school dropped one of the focus groups because the head teacher has just shifted out. So I'm not very hopeful that I'll get the last interview.
And
I'm not really even going to try.
And that's all going to be transcribed?
That has been transcribed.
That has been.
Alhamdulillah, oh my God.
Oh.
It's a big thing. Yeah.
You must
I
be
had
talking
to
about
be-
hundreds of hours.
Hundreds of hours, but for focus group, my supervisor told me to be selective. I
Uh-huh.
could not have been selective without listening to the whole thing. So
Yes.
I actually have to listen to each and every thing.
And then select what to transcribe. I see.
So some things I'm writing as summary,
Yeah.
kind of that I asked this and this was the general response, because that was not related to my research anyway.
Yeah.
It's like warm-up questions in the focus groups.
Mm-hmm.
So I've written them as paragraph. But some questions which are important, then I'm writing them down, and then you don't know who is saying what.
Yes.
So in the end, actually, because I have forgotten all those people now, so
Yeah.
I've just written the responses in separate line, because in focus group it doesn't matter.
Of course.
It's just like somebody is saying something different.
Yeah.
So,
That's
that,
very interesting.
the
That's a
transcription
huge
is
amount of data.
a huge amount of data. That's why I'm saying that I will not approach the analysis without any grounds.
Of course. Yeah.
So
You will be lost.
Yeah.
I just went through a little bit of Miles and Rubin in qualitative data analysis, and I found out that very easy to relate to.
Have you thought about using any software to manage that?
Not at all, no.
Oh, you have to.
I'm thinking
You will
about
have
it.
to. You can do that. Yeah, you can do
You
it.
have
How
to.
is going to analyze?
It's not an option for you.
Without the software. Yeah, that's what I see. But the categories I have to take out manually anyway. Once I have taken out the categories, only then I can feed my data into a software, isn't it?
It depends on how you want to code it. If you want to open code, if you have the data, if you have the category already, then it's a matter of. I think it's the same. Yeah.
The one that you were using was
Atlas.ti.
okay.
Yeah.
Because by the way, my last experience with the nVivo was really bad when I started transcribing the focus group. I could not, because I was transcribing my interviews in nVivo, and this time around I could not see the screen full. And every time I had to take the cursor down, it wasn't helping. So
I started transcribing in Vivo and then just gave up. And I used Word for that.
Yeah,
it's not helpful.
You can try the trial version.
It's not helpful.
Yeah.
It's finicky.
Is it available as the whole thing, or you have to buy it?
Exactly.
I didn't feel comfortable.
For trial, you can just download it.
Atlas.ti.
You can use it. I can't remember how many days. And then for the 2 years student license, it's quite cheap. It's £40 something.
Really?
Yeah.
How much?
£40 something.
But you get it.
£40 per month.
No. 2 years. For 2 years.
£40.
For 2 years.
The university doesn't.
No.
Because in Vivo you can download it.
Yes, I know. But at Vivo I don't.
There are some new versions.
But that's really cheap compared
Yes.
to a full license or businesses. We're talking hundreds of pounds.
Hundreds, yeah.
Very expensive.
In Vivo as well.
£40 is reasonable.
Yeah.
Very reasonable.
For 2 years.
For 2 years, yeah.
You should be done with your PhD by then.
Have you tried in Vivo as well?
I've tried, but I don't know. It somehow doesn't fit into my thought flow. I don't know how to explain it, but Atlas.ti fits more like I like the look of it. I look how they arrange things, display things. Yeah.
Because it takes time to learn.
So better G, you are.
It's really intuitive for me, at least.
You are expert, but for us,
Not really expert.
We're talking Atlas.ti versus
It's
nVivo.
just it would take you just a day to just understand
it's very possible
where
Atlas
everything
that's
is,
why.
because it's fairly simple.
Being
It's
user
quite
friendly is very important. The interface of the software, I feel, is very important. It is for me. I didn't like the interface of nVivo. I mean,
I don't like it.
So you do recommend Atlas?
Yes, I do. But to keep in mind, Atlas.ti for the Mac version is fairly new, much like nVivo Mac on Mac. But they are pushing more features as they go along. So you can see the metrics, the comparison between PC and the Mac version of Atlas.ti on their site, and see whether the features what that you want for the analysis part is supported currently in the Mac version. If not, then you shouldn't go forward with the Atlas.ti Mac, because currently what I'm doing and the features in the Mac version is there. So
can you give us 1 or 2 hours?
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I can share what I know about Atlas.ti. It's not a really wholesome kind of like knowledge, but I can share what I know. Yeah, sure.
That would be great.
Maybe next time we meet.
yes.
Yeah,
Well,
sure.
you know what I was thinking? I was
Excellent.
thinking of having.
I can see that Atlas has a free trial.
And
So-
we can set with Atlas.ti. They have some kind of like a group, kind of like video.
They have
interaction.
a webinar, I see.
Yeah, webinar with a group. We can request from them. I don't know whether it's paid.
That's
I
really
think
good.
it's
Let's take
paid.
it together.
I'll ask them.
Take an appointment.
Are we allowed to download it through the university software downloads?
University doesn't provide Atlas.ti.
That's the catch.
Yeah.
The university give us a free nVivo,
Yes.
but they don't give us Atlas.ti.
Atlas.ti.
So that's why most students use nVivo. However, it doesn't cost much. He was just saying for a student license, 2 years, it costs about
And
£40.
just, we would
Full
want
license
to,
would be hundreds.
Take our computers for a
But
check,
for a student,
you know.
it will be only
For
so
the
it's
speed and
really
everything.
affordable. If there is like
If
big
I
difference,
take it to the store,
so
I
in order
don't
to
need
decide if there is a
everything.
big difference or not, you have to try it.
You mean the Apple Store?
Luckily, there is a free trial.
It's
So what you can do is try it for a month, then decide if it's worth the money or not.
But you have
Good
a sugar
idea.
sink.
I know.
Yeah.
But still, you know, I need to. Yesterday, I just synced all my photos with the sugar sink as well.
Yeah. You should
Yes.
have
Because I have so much space in sugar sink which is left,
Yeah.
which is empty.
How you
Phone. So it's syncing all the photos now. Yes.
the sugar sink.
So my phone and my laptop, they are syncing already.
Yes, the sugar sink.
Mm.
So there is ample sugar sink.
Yes. Mobile.
Good.
Mm.
Good. So Hissa, how is your work? How did you finish? You already finished.
I finished it in January.
Yeah.
Or negative function. I finished the transcription.
What have you been up to?
I'm going to see. I'm about to finish my methodology chapter. I reviewed the first part of my methodology chapter with my supervisor.
Yeah.
It was in June. Then I'm now completing the chapter.
Yeah.
I started analyzing coding. Few interviews.
Wow.
I see.
I did
So it's
8 interviews. I couldn't 8 interviews with nVivo
Yeah.
before I start writing the chapter.
Yeah.
That was the first phase of interviews. But I don't like nVivo and starting doing it from
Okay. Yeah. But you already have some data in nVivo, so
yeah.
hopefully you will be able to transform it into Atlas or whatever. Yeah.
Actually, I spent a lot of time in this because I did it in manual first of all.
That is the problem with the software. It's a commitment. Once you start using it, it's really hard to migrate. But it's not impossible. But it's really hard. There is no backward
But
compatibility.
I think this is a good skill that if we can learn it while we are doing our PhDs. We just need some time and patience, If we can have one session like that, where we have the data and we just play around with the software.
Well, I'm sure there is.
And I know that MOOC use qualitative data analysis nVivo to do literature review.
nVivo to do literature review?
Yeah.
So he not literature review. He when he write papers,
Categorizing.
he import all the papers in a project, and he kind of like analyze the papers. For example, if you want to see definitions of social presence across the papers, so you quote the definition, and then in the network view you can see all the definitions. So it's quite convenient way of looking at the data across papers. That's an idea.
Yeah.
I have started pushing all of my papers inside Atlas.ti, and then I've started coding it. Yeah.
That's really clever. So as he reads, he's coding.
You'll have a repository of the papers and your analysis, and you can write your memos, what you thought about the specific, and you can link. You can do all sort of things with that.
Exactly like analysis.
Yeah, that's like analysis.
That's good.
I should have learned that skill when we were first in the first year or second year.
You
That would
treat
be
the
useful.
architects like the interview.
Yeah.
No, it's quite too late, but it's never too late. Yeah.
But I mean, we keep waiting for our data to come in and then we start using the software.
Yeah.
So that's a good idea if we can be given a kind of a workshop when we come and we given papers, 2 or 3 papers, as you say that he's doing it. That can at least teach us the skill of using the software.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously, ultimately, we will have our own data. So, at least we'll be familiar with the software, because everybody has come to the using the software at a stage where we really cannot risk wasting our time.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's what we keep thinking, that whether
We
to
should-
go for
we should
that
think,
or not.
early on.
I can see how that is appealing, but again, it might be distracting when you start, because there are so many things that are being discussed. I can remember I was feeling lost all the time. Everyone saying, this is something that is going to be very important later, so you have to start thinking about this at this early stage. And I just shut down because I knew that there will be enough time for me to think about it. Like, for example, when we were talking about research paradigm and so on,
Yeah.
and in the DTC we wasted a lot of time on that. And I think that although that was very interesting and intellectual and everything, but it didn't show up in the final product, and it was a time that could have been more properly invested. So I see where you're coming from, but I don't think it is for everyone. Let me put it like that. It's not for everyone. Yeah, some people will benefit from it, but not everyone will.
I feel really bad because I can remember saying to you, "Oh, they offer these modules at the DTC, and anybody can join. And if you want to know more about it,
No, no. No, they're not. No, that's not. Some parts of them were, but if I was to go back, I will go through it again.
Oh, you would.
So yeah, the overall outcome was positive. But I would just, if I could, I would suggest changes. You know, I would not take everything out. By the way, have you done your annual review for them? Yeah, I just finished it with my supervisor. She said, do they expect you to do training every year? Like, you know, it's really weird. She said, usually students do training first year and then they move on. Why do they? I said, I don't know. They're big on training.
In the training.
Yeah.
I didn't really put anything apart from nVivo.
Exactly, yeah, because you don't... this is my point again. You have everything you need.
Yeah.
You should have everything you need at the second year.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then they have third year training and fourth year. Strange. Yeah.
Could I just disturb and ask a question? How do I log into EduRoam? Because it's not my Warwick number. I have to log in, I think, with a, you know, the wireless.
Yeah, it's, for me it's the ITS login.
Yeah.
Have you tried your ITS login credential? Like the EDR.
Yeah, I've tried that. It doesn't work. I thought if we had to go, it was at live.
No, you just use the username without the @live Warwick.
The what? At live?
No, you don't have to.
No, it's not working.
I think the @live is the same as username, right? Same as your username at work.
Oh, you can use the whole kind of like...
I think that worked
sometimes
before.
work.
Is it your name, that @live.warwick?
No, the code name, the 6 letters. The 6 letters
Yeah.
@live.
And live.warwick.ac.uk.
Yes.
Okay, let's try that. Sorry.
It's alright. To recap, we were talking about the room allocation and that we are meeting with MOOC and that if you can show up, it will be very helpful. Yes. Excellent. And second, we were going around the room, everyone telling us update about their research and what they've been up to. And then we are going to talk about the study buddy scheme, and we were waiting for everyone to show up. And that's all. So up until now, we have covered the first two things, and now me, Michelle, and yourself, and I think Hafiz as well will tell us where have they gone, what have they been doing in their research and so on. Okay, shall I go? Would you like to go first?
Yeah.
Yes,
Currently, I'm in my second cycle of coding. I've done my first cycle. I did the open coding, and then now I'm kind of like doing the focus coding, finding themes and concepts. And after that, while doing that, I am writing writing descriptions of them as I go along. Yeah.
Did you have experience in coding before?
I had just a little bit of experience coding while I did my masters, but that wasn't really extensive, kind of like what I'm doing now. Yeah,
and did you feel you need to read about on the subject or so on? And
yes.
If yes, what resources did you use?
Yes, my main resource for guiding me to code is the Johnny Saldana book.
I've come across this.
Yeah, his guide is
What kind of analysis do you use?
What?
Thematic or?
You can say thematic, yeah. I don't know how to put it, but I've derived my categories derived from open coding. And from there, just reduce them down to categories. Yeah,
thematic.
yeah. Mm-hmm. And I'm planning after doing that, I'm planning to do the actual coding to know what the relationship between this. The
So when you are coding, are you actually writing down as well?
Yes. After I've coded, then for example, in for like network, so I'll write a description of the network, what it entails, how many respondents mentioned that categories, those kind of like frequencies. Yeah.
And are you bringing in literature at this time as well?
I've signposts where I should mention or link to what I've discussed in the literature review, but I haven't really gone through to really link up that. But Mick suggested that I should just do a touch base on that and then really discuss in the discussion section. So the description would be in the discussion of the.
So this is something like findings.
Yeah,
you're just writing
findings,
down.
Yeah.
So there is not much literature, if I
not much,
correct,
yeah.
in findings.
Mm-hmm.
You just quote the findings as they are.
Yeah. The idea is what I have with me is that we are trying to fuse in everything in one, like a timeline, like a story. So we are trying to fuse in the data from the qualitative with quantitative, with some speculations, with some discussions in the findings section, chapter, and then further discuss in the discussion. Yeah, I'm trying to do it like that. Yeah.
So you mentioned you're in your second cycle, so it's like cyclic. How many cycles do you need?
I think this is the second will be the last cycle.
I see.
Yeah, and then after that I'll draw out the relationships between the categories
Yeah,
and
and the themes.
And then I
Like-
think that would be it.
At the end of the second cycle, you will have the nodes and the
Yes.
themes, and then you will start linking them.
Yes.
Interesting. Yeah, I need to read a lot about that. Okay, thank you. Now, I don't have much to say because I have finished the majority of my interviews. I still have 2 in the next month, as I said. I was hoping I can get some more, but it's really hard to get an interview for me. I have finished transcribing all the interviews that I've been doing, and transcription was like 90% of the work I've been doing in the last 2 months. Right now, while I'm waiting for the next interviews, I am reading on analysis, as I mentioned before, the couple of books that my supervisor suggested that I will be adding on the blog, and you can have a look at them. So that's all. Yeah.
Are you transcribing as you are taking the interviews?
No, I finished the bulk and then transcribe. Well, when I started, yes, I transcribed the first 2 because I forward the transcription to my supervisor to have a look at my questions and follow-up questions and whether I'm being subjective or not, leading questions, so on. And she did give me great feedback. She said, here you're being leading, here assuming, here, and so on and so forth. And that helped me finish my questions. And then I went on doing the majority of them. And I didn't have time to transcribe. Transcription takes so much time and energy, and I'd rather just listen to the recording and reflect back on it, and not worry about transcription. And then for about 2 months, I was just transcribing, and now I got a chance to do a couple more interviews. I thought I was never going to be able to. That's why I started transcribing. But now I have a chance to do a couple more, and I can't say no because there's so much good data there. But I think for the next couple of interviews, the ones that are going, I might be transcribing as at the same time as recording. I don't know if I will be able to pull that through, but because transcribing is such a pain in the foot, and I would hope not to do it anymore. But what can you do? Yeah.
When you said 16 interviews, so are there 16 universities or The same
No,
university.
two
had
case
different
studies. Two case studies.
Two case studies.
So 2 universities, and here's how it's organized. I'm doing stratified data. So that means you categorize. So although the selection is random, so you want your sample to be representative, but you choose from categories. Like, here's your case study, the university, and you have 3 categories or 3 strata, as they to call them. Super senior leadership, senior leadership, and leadership. So you have the chancellor, vice chancellor, and a pro vice chancellor in the first group, the first strata, and you have to choose randomly 1 or 2 from them. And in second group or second strata, you will have quality managers and strategic managers, and you will choose 2 or 3. And then second group or strata, department heads, and choose randomly 4 or 5 of those. So this is for the 2 case studies. That's how it's going.
Okay.
And how many interviews left?
I finished 16. I have 2 left, and I might be able to secure 2 more. So I will end up with about 20.
Your transcriptions, what sort of detail have you gone into?
It's not. Let's call it liberal verbatim, because I just remove the ums and the os and the. But if they start answering and then go back and they say no, I write that in. Okay. So it's not fully edited. It is almost not edited, but without the slurs and what do you call that? The ums and the. Yeah. It's not a slur.
There's a name for it.
Yeah, other than a slur, I think it's totally different thing, isn't it? Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, very lightly edited, if you will. Mm-hmm. Yeah, almost verbatim, but not quite. Yeah, because I believe there is so much data in that when someone is struggling to answer, But I don't want it to be what's the word? Too much. Yeah. I can't think of the word. I don't know. Okay, so.
And what about you, Michelle?
How about you?
So I'm in a similar position. The data collection's finished, but I'm supposed to be just transcribing. I'm sending summaries first to participants to ask them to check, see if they're happy with the data that I'll be using. So a summary first, and then the detailed transcription. I didn't want to send them the full transcription. But I just find that I'm juggling so much, and I've got other pieces of writing to do, like I'm doing the second draft of parts of my methodology chapter for my supervisor, and then other bits of writing, and so I'm finding that in my mind I know I've got 80 hours of interviews to transcribe, and yet it's taking time to do my writing, so it's I've got a lot of transcribing to do over the next few months.
Now, sending the summary back, do you expect changes and alteration? Is that the point? Or
yeah.
And have you been receiving any changes?
Yeah, some, but the changes have been not about meaning, which is good. The meaning, the intention, and the motivation of what they said was accurate. Okay. And they felt they were quite happy with the way it had been captured. Yeah. But some of the kind of very Vietnamese specific terminology, they've kind of helped me with that. Yeah, I see. Which is great. Yeah. But fortunately, I haven't got it completely wrong. Yeah. Which was reassuring. But it's something I can talk about as part of the process. It's quite interesting, the idea of sending back your transcription or summary in your case and then asking for their comments. I know you've been doing that, haven't you?
I gave them the option. It was just one head teacher out of the 10 who just said if I can have a look at this. So I sent him the entire transcription. Yeah. So he never got back to me. I'm sure he must be happy because I transcribed every single. And you're sending them
the same, but
sometimes
fine, exactly.
Fine, don't worry.
In Pakistan, they don't even bother.
They don't want to send it at all.
Exactly.
Yeah, sometimes they don't really. They can't really be bothered. Yeah.
It depends on the people and their position. They, have a lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
That's good. That give me the time to.
I thought about that, and I decided not to go through that pathway for two reasons. Number one, it's going to take time, but that's not the real reason, because we have time. But the second reason is the nature of the people that I am interviewing. When you send it back, they are more worried about the image and the culture and the organization image. Although it's anonymized, they are always going to go for the more politically correct and so on. And I want the more representative, more honest answer. The first impression.
I think
So it's
for
like
me it
more
was because
candid.
of the language barrier, because
Yeah.
I wasn't using it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So I had to do everything in my power to make sure that I could understand.
I think it's like everything else. If you can justify it, I can justify it because the nature of you can justify it because of the nature of your data. So, but it's good to think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember talking with my supervisor and telling her, I am not going to be sending transcription back. And I know, like, again, they're not going to be bothered because some of them are so busy. I can think many times I would be waiting in their secretary office, waiting for them to be. Although we have a meeting, an appointment, and everything, but you have to wait. Okay. Sometimes I have 60 minutes on the clock, and they are distracted half the time. And in one case, they were only able to give me 15 minutes, and they say, sorry, we can't go on. I have to end this immediately. And I managed to squeeze one more question. So you think this person is going to read a transcript of 15 pages? Of course not. No. It's just going to take time out of my schedule. So it's different things for different people.
Yeah.
Right. Esther, how have you been?
I'm writing my discussion chapter now.
Oh,
Because my deadline would be next year.
yeah,
So
I
I'm
know.
going to submit sometimes in spring next year. So I really have to work using Gear 5, Gear 6 maybe now. Yes, but I still have 2 research questions that I need to write about. So I've been through all that. You mentioned about the transcription, and then I'm dealing with 66 interviews. I did that last year, early this year, and then I did the coding and everything at once, and I write at the same time. That's why it's really it is really fast. Yeah.
66,
yeah.
and you have 60, and you have
But
how
that
many
would be
like,
for
hours? It
individual.
makes
Because I
me
have
feel.
two phases of study. The second phase I have 66 interviews, and then first phase I have about 20, 30 something like that.
Yeah.
But it's a longitudinal study, so I did the data collection for 1 year.
Ah.
So it's
Yeah,
like
I
in
remember.
process. So
Yeah.
I did the first phase first, then after that I did the coding analysis for the second phase and writing at the same time. So now I'm writing the discussion for the final 2 situations. But I have problem with the second situation where I find that there are a lot of repetition in the writing.
Yes.
A lot of repetition. So David asked me to restructure because of that kind of problem. So I talked to Naima about this, and
Can I ask you something? The analysis phase. How long did it take you?
it took me about 6 months, 6 to 7 months.
Okay.
What did the analysis?
Analysis, coding, and transcript. Yeah, 6 months.
With the transcript or without?
I don't think
I
that's.
transcribed first, but after because I have
I
2
mean,
phases.
6 months for
6 months for,
transcription.
no, 6 months for everything.
For everything.
For transcribing
How many
and
interviews is it?
Transcribing, coding, I have about 60, roughly 70 plus. Yeah.
And what kind of analysis you use?
There are 2 types. First, for the first phase, I'm using the phenomenography analysis. The second one, I'm doing thematic analysis. But phenomenography is a bit easy, I would say, because you just look at the data as a whole. You don't treat it individually. But the second part is a bit tricky because I have to look at the case, each case individually. So there are 2 parts of analysis there. So I find the first phase was a bit okay to do, manageable, but the second one was very difficult because of this. I really have to focus to each of the participants in my study.
Great.
But I think technology really helped a lot. So invest in a good laptop. Invest your money in that. So I think it really helps in terms of how you organize your data and then how you write and everything. So yeah, it really helped.
did you have any trouble with losing your data or?
For data, in terms of storage, I think I am okay with that. Just that I have problem with, because I'm doing it on my own, and I don't know how am I certain that what I found in the analysis is valid, or is it based on what I'm thinking, or based on my own biases or whatever. So I asked one of my colleagues to just be my iterator. In nVivo, there's one function where you can compare your analysis with your colleague. So by looking at the comparison, you can see the percentage it generates after you compare.
I remember you mentioned something like that.
Yeah, you can use that.
Yeah.
So just use one to make sure that you are on the right track. Let's see if your colleague is doing almost similar to what the themes you have. So I think there should be no problem with that. And I put that in my writing in my chapter 3 for the validity. In
the methodology or
methodology chapter.
Yeah, validity. I see.
Validity.
Yeah, that makes sense.
When you're saying that you find parts are repetitive, what sorts of things are repetitive?
Especially when I for the discussion part, especially when I talk about the strategy, what makes them use this strategy. So I've been talking about they use this strategy because of text, and then I mentioned about the same thing, the first paragraph, second, third, and so on.
Okay.
Yeah. So when David read it, he said there were a lot of repetition in your part 2 of your discussion. So he asked me to take some time off, 1-2 weeks. After that, go back and then come back to your work with a refreshed mind.
So when you did your coding and your write-up, so that's discussion or whatever. I mean findings. Findings.
Yeah.
So you have done the findings.
I'm done with the
So
findings.
how many words did that? Or were you conscious about the word count?
Yeah, exactly. But because you have expert, if you're doing qualitative analysis, then you have to put the transcript excerpt from the transcript. So you have to be very careful with that. So what I did was I converted it into image. To save good number.
Good one.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a trick, but I don't know if it is allowed. But
No, it is. I think somebody told her as well to cut down on word count.
Yeah, especially for the excerpt. So and also for if you have tables, you convert it into image, so it will help with the.
You take a screenshot. Take a screenshot and then edit it. Yeah.
So some things like figure tables, you can convert it into image, so the word will not be counted.
Screenshot and then you can copy paste.
Yeah, screenshot and then copy, use pen or use the clip.
Or actually, sometimes, at least in my research, this would be very valid that I'll have to translate because of the 2 countries. So I will be using a lot of footnotes. I did that in my MPhil as well. So footnote things do not come in word counts.
They shouldn't,
Yeah.
but
so you have to be. You can use as long as it doesn't. It doesn't include the word count, so it should be alright. And in my analysis, in my finding chapter, I have a lot of tables because I have to look at all the strategy used by each participant. So that's why I have to be very careful with that. And when after I converted all the tables into image, so I can save about 10,000 words. Yeah. Because there are a lot in one table. Like for example, one participant maybe they have 13 or 14 strategies. So a lot of So I have to be very careful with that.
Interesting too.
Yeah. But I spent about 6-7 months for analysis. Almost half a year.
Work continuously.
Continuously, yeah. But it's really tedious. And I can feel you when you said you're not going to do that anymore. Transcribing.
But if you are aiming for spring next year, then you would be submitting a rough draft by January, February?
Yeah.
Feels so soon.
Because of my scholarship,
I know.
I have to at least make sure everything is done by spring next.
Wow.
Hopefully I can do it.
Good luck, you can do it.
Yeah.
Right. Let's talk about the study buddy scheme. I'm not sure if this is the best title for it. It's just a working title. Okay. So the idea is we buddy up, team up in groups, and we review our methodology chapter and make sure what we say is coherent with what we do. It's voluntary. You don't have to participate. But if you want to, I will take your name and we can team you up with someone.
What would we be reading for the other person?
Mostly their methodology.
Okay.
Chapter. You're not going to read their literature review. It's not about the content. It's about the context. It's about how they say they are doing the research and how they're actually doing the research. It is irrelevant to the topic they're doing the research in. So if you're not familiar with it, it's not going to be a problem. No. And I prefer to be teamed up with someone and continue to work with them, so I know exactly their language and their use of terminology and so on. Is you get familiar with their work, and it's a chance for, if you want to, as Esther said, use their verification for nVivo or any other software. You know, there's your study buddy. Yeah, you work together, you help each other out.
I have a question about the iterator thing. I've used iterators during my MA, and then I thought, you know, the idea about you look at the comparison, and then I thought, well, the chances are I would probably mainly code the way I code because I've had 2 years of reading the literature. So when you're coding, you know what sorts of things are out there, what sorts of themes already exist, and I thought, whoever the iterator is, would they have to be somebody quite knowledgeable in that area already, do you think, Esther?
Yeah. I asked my friend who is also doing her research is pretty much the same, so he has the knowledge of the literature and all that. It's just that we are doing it in different contexts.
Okay.
Yeah, so she has some literature knowledge about the STEM topic.
Yeah.
So you have to find someone who has the similar. Especially for the coding, for the themes itself.
But Esther, another thing is, obviously, if at times you find it difficult to find a similar person, and at times I think what Naima did with me once was, although I do know her research and obviously the context and everything, but then one would just need to know that the way that you have analyzed and what you are interpreting as the theme or the code for that paragraph, maybe. Is it something that the other person is also, by just reading, I think? Maybe, I don't know, does it have to be somebody who really knows your area of research or something?
Sometimes you can, let's say you can ask someone, maybe someone from our group. You can just give your colleague a bit background of what you're doing, and then you can give the themes to her, and then or your friend, and then you can just look at. You can ask me, so I can read the transcript and I will tell you whether I think the same thing. So that's another way of doing it.
Oh, so you give them the themes.
Yeah,
that's nice.
So that's another way of doing it.
Yeah.
You can, that's why for the support body scheme, maybe that will be a very good thing for that iterator.
Yes, I was going to say, if we have like 15 people interested, we have to group them in teams. But if we have like only 5 or 6, we can work as one group, like we're doing right now. Next time, maybe I bring a chapter or so, and I say I want to read you this segment and tell me what you think about it.
That would be great.
Yeah, you don't need. I don't know.
And sometimes, if you ask someone who doesn't come from the background, one benefit that you can get from it is because you get a very different perspective.
Different perspective.
From that.
Yeah, maybe.
Sometimes, your colleague will tell you something that you never thought of, so that will be one of the advantages to get there.
Yeah.
Rather than someone
Yes,
from the background,
I see what you mean.
think of the same thing, you look at the same direction, but someone will have, looking at different lens, so
yes.
it will be very advantage, give you advantage.
Very interesting. Right. Okay. Now.
So maybe that will be one of the
benefits. One of the many benefits.
Agenda in the support body that you are planning to have.
Yeah.
That we can have that support iterator.
There are different ways. I mean, either we pick and select our buddies ourselves.
Yeah. You can do that because there's someone you are going to be working with, so if you're comfortable.
The thing is that if you do that, then is it really, is it really going to work out like this? That the next meeting, all of them are there, So either they.
That's the beauty of it, because now you have your body and you can organize with them.
Ah, yes, yes.
You
Online
can,
as
I
well.
think you might be working using email most of the
Yes,
time.
yes.
Yes, read this chapter, tell me what you think, and so on.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I was thinking, like, when you are assigned a body, you would send him a chapter.
Mhm.
They will send you the chapter. A month later, you meet up, or you have a Skype chat or whatever, and you say, "This is what I found. This is what I think," and they do the same to you. It could be very helpful. And again, as Esther said, the further they are from your discipline,
Exactly.
the
Yes, yes.
the
It's the
more-
analytical skills that you will see for the other person.
That's exactly what you want. It's not the knowledge in
It's
the
not the
in the
knowledge.
area. It's the analytical mind.
Mhm.
Right. One final thing before we end. I mentioned earlier. I found a MOOC online which is about how to survive your PhD. Are you familiar with MOOCs? Massive online open courses. And this one is on edX, fairly known. It's about surviving a PhD. The course starts on 25th of August, that's next week. I think it's about 10 weeks. Each week there will be a session of 1 hour, and there are some course material, and usually they have quizzes and so on, and by the end you get a certificate. The thing is, it's not about the website, it's about the person who is running the MOOC. Dr. Newburn. I am going to show you the video from the website.
Known fact that up to 1 in 3 PhD students never finish their degree. That's because the PhD is an emotional roller coaster,
It's only 2
and how
minutes.
well students react to these pressures is crucial to their success. In this course, we'll explore how the pressures of the PhD process can trigger certain emotions more than others, especially boredom, loneliness, and frustration. We'll look at how curiosity can be a boon and a curse for scholars, and why students who do a PhD, probably the most smartest students among us, often don't feel very confident. We'll look at how some confusion can be a good thing, but too much is a problem, and the many and splendid dimensions of love. I'm Inga Mewburn, Director of Research Training here at the Australian National University, and the founder and managing editor of the Thesis Whisperer blog. I've been working with PhD students for nearly 10 years, and they never cease to amaze me. I write about their emotions on the blog, and they write many thousands of comments in return. Of course, you have to be smart to finish a PhD, but you also have to be emotionally resilient, which is why I'm so excited about this MOOC. PhD students are misunderstood and misrepresented, particularly in the media. In films, you see them as a brilliant but emotionally stunted individual. This is far from the truth. Students are going through a stressful but exciting time in their lives. I want these emotions to be recognised, understood, and celebrated for what they are. This course will be interesting to you if you're a research student right now or considering becoming one in the future. It will also be interesting to the academic advisors and supervisors of research students who are studying right now. Or you might be the family member of a PhD student. They might be your son, your daughter, your brother, your sister, or your partner, and you might want to understand what they're going through. This MOOC will help us create a better and more supportive academic environment where students can do their best work. I'm looking forward to talking with you in this course and on social media, so join me for this journey into the emotional life of the research student.
So this is Dr. Mewburn. Right. She's from Australian National University, which is an excellent university. I think it's the top university in Australia or something like that. It's definitely one of the top 25 in the world.
How can you find?
Yes. I'm going to give you all that information. Now, if you go to, I will put the link on the Facebook page, but if you go to edx.org,
edX?
edx.org,
EDX?
yeah,
EDEX or EDX?
ed, like education, X.
Okay, yes.
And just search surviving your PhD.
.org. How to survive your PS.
Exactly. And on the right you will have a green box enroll, and it doesn't cost anything.
You have to pay for the certificate, that's all.
If you want, there are two types of certificates. There is an attending certificate and then is a verified certificate.
Yeah.
The verified one costs money.
Yeah.
The other one doesn't
And
cost
what
money.
is the time for the lesson?
The beauty of it is you can attend it whenever you want. It
That's
doesn't have to
great.
be live. Yeah.
That's great.
And they are you can see the syllabus they are going to. Main three goals is dealing with your emotional experiences and how prospective academics can become more effective researchers. And if you are doing supervision for other students, is going to also be covered. I think it could be very interesting.
Enroll now.
Dr. Newburn is a personal hero of mine. Are you aware of the Research Whisperer blog?
Yeah. Thesis.
The Thesis Whisperer.
Yeah.
She is the editor of that blog. The chief editor-in-chief. So, I will write an entry about this in the Facebook page with the link, and I will link also the Thesis Whisperer because I think it's a massively helpful resource.
Thank you for sharing that.
Oh, my pleasure.
And you just, if you can share the books, the names of the books.
Of course.
Vice told.
Yeah.
Yes. That's so scary. Between 1/4 and 1/3 of all research students never finish their degree.
And this is a free course, yeah? Muhammad, this is a free course?
Yes.
You just have to pay $50 for
No.
the certificate.
You don't have to. If you want the certified certificate, you can pay for it. If you don't, you can attend and you will get a certificate of attendance.
So for 5 weeks?
But $50 is not bad. It will be something like 35 something pounds.
Yes.
So it's good for your CV if you want to supervise PhD students in the future.
You actually you will get it like this one. This is a certificate that you will get. This is the free one, and that says this person completed successfully this and with a passing grade, because there are quizzes. It's not just attendance. It's not a certificate of attendance. It's a passing certificate, but it's not verified. What they do when you apply for the verified one, they will I think they will meet. Or they will set up a meeting with you on Skype and make sure your face matches your name and so on. And then we're doing the quiz. You have to open the Skype or something like that. I am not completely familiar with it because I've never been interested in a certified certificate, a verified certificate. And you can still add this one to your CV, the non-verified one, the free one. Like here I have one this is a course by a professor from Harvard University, and it says I finished it successfully, and it's about educational leadership. And actually, when you get in the business of doing MOOCs, and it's about your own pace and whatever topic interests you, you will be doing more than one. I have finished a couple, and I am going through a couple right now. It's a great way to always be like on the lookout for new ideas, and the idea of continually learning like a professional student. I like that.
Yeah, that's interesting what you've just shown me, because one of the things I was thinking about was at some point a line manager said it to me years ago and said, Michelle, one of the things you're going to have to face at some point is some sort of leadership course or management course. And I would never imagine myself like that. I was always skills based. I was always know my stuff well first before trying to think about working in leading others. But I think I can see that now.
Yes.
More and more. And so I think, oh shit, maybe I should have done like an MA in leadership, but I haven't. So I have to deal with that now.
Yeah, this might be a good opportunity for that, like a good
That's
platform.
What I was
Yes,
thinking.
an excellent platform, I think, for that, because it's you can choose the time and the place, and you're not committed and you can change and everything.
Yeah. So in terms of, would you say that edX leaders of learning, what sort of stuff was that including?
Leaders of learning. You see, the name of the professor was
Anrig?
Elmore.
Okay.
Elmore something. He is a very known author in the field of leadership and educational leadership, and he has many books, and he has a framework for student leadership, and this framework is, I think, based on skills, and I don't remember the terminology, but what he does in this course, he presents you with his framework, and it is like a
yes, I can see
it's
it.
like a summary of his life and his whole thesis, you know.
Yeah. Okay. How did you find your personal theory of learning, leadership in different learning environments, organisation structure, reflect theories of learning? Okay, that's interesting.
The one with the star.
I think I found it. Yes. On the topic of modes of learning, he divides learners into two categories according to how they consume new knowledge and how they build new knowledge. He has two axes, whether you prefer to act individually or collectively, like if you like to do your studying alone or with a group, and then whether you like it to be hierarchical or distributed. Hierarchical being, I am very classical in how I learn stuff. I like to attend the classroom, I like to flow of information to be one side to another, I am learning, there's a teacher out there. Or distributed is like people who go online, who read magazines and so on. And out of that you get four categories: individual, hierarchical, distributed collective hierarchical, and distributed hierarchical. And he says, he talks about the two sides, the learner side and the teacher side, of how to deal with different kinds of people. His background is psychology and education, so you can see the psychology playing a big role in that.
Okay.
I think it's an excellent course. It's one of the best courses. And I remember when I did the course, I did it. Now you can, I think you can attend the course still.
Oh, future dates to be announced.
Yeah, because when you attend it at the same time, like when it's announced, I suggest you sign up. You can see the videos, and you will be doing assignments, and the assignments will be reviewed by other students and by the professor himself. And at the end, there will be an online session with the professor, a Q&A, and you get a chance to talk to them.
Okay.
It's really very, very. What's the word? God, I can't think of the word. When you're waiting for something and it finally happens.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
You finally get to talk to them.
Okay,
He's a very well established professor, and he's very good published. So it's good to get your question across.
That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, my
That's
pleasure.
really useful.
She was submitting, but I think now we should be submitting something next month.
There's another interesting course if you're interested in data analysis on EDX.
Yeah.
Data analysis take it to the max.
Is it EPX, EDX?
EDX,
Okay.
the same size.
Data analysis. Take it to the max.
Yeah,
Oh.
take it to the max. It's teaching.
That's
Type data analysis.
Yeah.
that's very interesting.
Spreadsheets and data visualization.
I'm afraid, is it qualitative or quantitative data?
I think it's quantitative data. If you want. If you're interested.
Well,
Because
but
it's-
why not? I will try the first session and we'll see.
But it is not. Oh, starting on September
Yeah,
1st.
that's September.
But
Yeah.
it's quantitative. I have all my qualitative data.
It's sooner.
That's good actually.
It's good to know.
You know, maybe
Yeah.
Hafiz, I get to supervise your daughter in the
Yeah.
future.
Probably,
Someday,
yeah.
you know.
No.
Or your son even. But anyway. I know what I am really.
So when are you guys planning on submitting or having a first draft ready? Have you planned that far ahead yet?
Mine would be fairly the same with Esther. Have to.
When you guys
Yeah.
submit?
If I think she will submit first, and then I'll follow.
Is it your birthday today?
Yes.
Happy birthday.
Oh, happy birthday!
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so that time pressure.
Yeah. really.
You
I like
submit
running.
planning to submit
If I
by May next year?
yeah, that kind of like timeline. Yeah. I don't know if I can make it to the summer graduation next year.
For July.
Yeah, for July. Yeah. Planning to, but I don't know whether I can make it. Trying to make it.
When do you think you will finish your data analysis?
Ideally this month for qualitative, and then next 2 months will be literature review and combining with qualitative and quantitative.
Have you started writing the findings reports?
Yes. I'm writing as I go along, analyzing the data. So the thing is to really marry them together. Yeah, that's a bit tricky. I guess I'm planning to fuse in the qualitative and quantitative data instead of just having two sections
That makes sense.
separated. Yeah.
Makes sense.
What about you?
No, but it's too far in the future. My submission date is September 2017,
That's your final.
the final date. So when it's 2017, I would really start to work before that.
Okay.
When are you? Have you guys thought about a first draft or submission month yet?
No, I mean, I really want to. I was aiming for something like April or May as well, but I have no idea. Everybody, I mean, I've met 2 random people, and they say that the last few months, getting your thesis together takes at least 3 months.
Yeah.
You know, referencing and editing and all that.
Yeah.
Whew. So I've still not even
But for
started.
referencing to help time with that, use EndNote on Moodle.
Oh, definitely. I will be using EndNote
I
from start.
started using it.
Use
Yeah,
Moodle,
yeah.
So
yeah, that one.
references are very updated,
Yes.
very organized. So it really helps.
I used to use EndNote Web for that, but now I'm thinking that for my
I use
thesis.
Mendeley because I
Mendeley.
really like
Mendeley,
EndNote
yeah.
web. It's not really for me. It's not really user friendly, so I switched to
Mendeley.
Monthly is easier.
And
It's much easier.
It's easy. It's online.
No, online is for free. And just put all your references
Exactly.
there. Then every time you want to do citation or
Yes,
whatever,
yes,
you
yes.
just
Yes, that's much easier.
This one.
Saves
I
a lot.
like it so much. Yeah.
I've been really frustrated with you know, the search, the library search and core,
I know.
and how you can't, when you find your articles through that, you can't put it directly into a reference system, into EndNote. That's really frustrating.
I used EndNote before, but because of some of the function that I don't really like there. So
The only thing that
I
I did
think,
not
Michelle,
ignore
that problem is the same with mainframe.
I
I think it's the same.
Unfortunately,
Unfortunately, yeah, it's
and it
really.
was not
I found the library. I said, is it just me,
referencing
or
style
am
was
I
not
doing something
compatible.
wrong? She
No.
said,
I had a lot of problems. I met Mick for the
What's the
assignment as
point
well. And he said,
Yeah.
as far
Finding
as
it and
assignment is
then
concerned,
having
no,
to, yeah,
you know, for your
instead
thesis,
of the
you have
data
to
manual.
have
And then you
Mhm.
have to find it through
You
a
can't go back
database
every
anyway.
time.
Yeah. True.
You just set
However,
So have you thought about submitting something?
No.
Yeah.
I thought I would like to. When did I say?
No,
I got it on a calendar. I would like to be able to submit something maybe
and you go for
in
qualitative analysis.
January 2017.
Yes. I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. Yeah, when it's 2017, start worrying about that. I think your deadline is the same as mine, September. So if you can submit in January, your supervisor most likely would say, give it to me 3 months prior. So yeah, you would start to finish up and submit it for final review by your supervisor, so on, commencing 2017. But any date before that, I think it's just going to put more pressure on you. And I'm sure you can do it, but it's not going to be the same quality. You know, you want something that really reflects the hard work. You don't want to end it abruptly or prematurely. Because I know someone who had to submit early because they had an emergency back home and they had to go back. And they managed to do that. But it was like they barely passed. And it was more pressure on them. If they took a couple more months, it would be better. So use the time that you have. If you don't have to submit early, don't submit early. But again, each one has different scenarios, different experiences. Yeah.
Of course, I'm going to be working for 2 days a week.
Yeah.
When I go back to Vietnam, so that's kind of. I mean, it's not too bad, but it's something I have to consider.
Yeah. Okay. I think that sums everything. Someone wants to add anything else before?
So, Esther will be willing to do the what? The buddy. Okay, for me.
The buddy of
Okay, I can.
Anyone wants, I can help with that.
Yeah.
Because I'm familiar with your work.
Excellent.
But you should do it with Mohammed as well. Yes.
Okay.
I'm happy to do it
They
with
have
anybody.
the same trouble, more or less.
Anne said she wants to team up with someone.
Okay.
Is it okay if I team you up with her?
Yeah.
And
So you're teaming up with him because he is a similar field, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
okay,
Then I
Yeah,
team
of
up
course.
with you then.
Yeah. Of course, we can still have other people's opinion,
Yes.
but it's easier when you know that this person, and you can send them your work. They take their time and then they come back to you. Okay. Cool. Is everyone going to be able to meet with Michael?
Yeah, I am.
Second of September?
At
2nd September.
I think in the afternoon. It's in the morning now?
11.
he has told the date. Yes, time
Yeah.
himself. So new office space, but where exactly? I don't know. We'll just reach the building.
Okay.
So yes, you won't be here.
No,
Okay.
unfortunately.
So I think Harbi needs to reply as well.
So what's happened with it so far? You've just said we want to meet and to discuss, to say we're not happy with the arrangement.
Yeah. So I sent the email to Mick, the draft that Harbi made for after that meeting.
Yeah.
So Let's see. Nobody has promised anything, by the way. So probably, as I think we were discussing, Mohammed was saying that we'll come up with a, kind of a mutual agreement. Everybody cannot be happy.
We are going to have to settle down, meet them halfway.
Yes, halfway. Anyway, I mean, at least if the place is study friendly, that is what matters. We'll respect each other's books for the entire day. Yes, but as he says that, we'll clean up the place before we leave. But they should not expect us to clean during the day. You can be going for any reason.
They were saying, Michelle, that these are hot desk arrangements, hotspots, so when you finish your work, you have to take your stuff with you.
Yes.
And there is no problem with that, except sometimes you pop out and you come like 2 hours later.
Yeah.
And as I was saying, you can't expect us to go to take our stuff with us. So I think what we agree to is like, when you have your books on the desk, it's your desk for the day. At the end of the day, you have to take them out. So you cannot. But it's down to, I think, very courtesy, basic courtesy.
Because we're now discussing it, we'll just keep in mind that we will keep the common room in mind, by the way. So we'll use the same example as you were telling, that somebody is already using the common room for studying.
Look, here's our strategy. We try to get more rooms.
Exactly.
We try to get more desks. Mostly they are going to say it's impossible because we are very limited in the rooms. And we'll say, okay, can you put a couple of desks in the communal area, in the because this is a big space and it's most of the time not being used. Like the current arrangement, it's a big space and no one is using it. And I actually saw 2 of our colleagues working there, and they say, oh, it's a big office anyways. And tell them not to expect us to move
Mohammed, I think
in the middle of the day.
Also that, for example, because you have seen the final PhD room,
Yes.
we can swap the common room with the final PhD room.
Yeah.
I mean, we just need a microwave and probably get an electric kettle or something. Who will have the time anyway to sit with us? We just quickly go there, make tea, come back to us.
Yeah, that's true.
So we can use that big room for the final room, considering the fact that so many of us are writing up.
Yeah. Have you been over to have a look at the new space?
He actually went to. I went through the corridors, by the way, but all the doors were closed. But the corridors are so cramped up, and that's what he said, that the finalist room is so small. So how
Is
do
it
they
only for
explain?
3 people for the finalist room?
So the size that Mohammed is saying. Just imagine, we
And
not
there
3
will be
people.
more than 3.
There are more, definitely. Even the ones like Naima and Simeon.
Yeah, Simeon.
They're like right now they need to have that comfort of not being shifted from here and there and all that.
Do other departments, do they pick their PhD students have a desk that's their desk?
It seems that everyone does.
Everyone has that. Because in a
And
room,
what was the policy of the university?
1.5 desks.
No, a desk for
1.5 people.
1.5.
a desk for each 1.5 people.
Cut his
So it's
son.
like, okay, so we can share.